Imagine yourself as a barbarian. You're born and raised in these sick societies that get chicken pox, smallpox. Not only do y'all don't have a spiritual system and a moral system, you don't have any kind of health system, political system. It's just chaotic with the barbarians. They did not know about government. Their form of government was the strongest man in our group rule. It's like a wolf pack. It's like a pack of dogs. It ain't no structure. It ain't no government. It's just the strongest, most vicious dog rule the pack. That's how they form their societies. You just have a group of people who establish hierarchy based upon the man who can beat everybody ass. He become the man in charge. Then the next man who's the best, strongest, become under him. The barbarians form their hierarchy with physical strength, not mental wisdom. They don't value knowledge. They value brute force. When the enemy showed up on our land, he had a culture shock. Put yourself in the mind of a barbarian. All you know is wood shacks with mud rooftops. All you know is eating oatmeal and grits outside, boiling them up in an open fire. All you know is wooden towns made out of wood like the Wild Wild West. All you know is lawlessness. In the barbarian societies, they had hierarchy, but no law like we got today. We got a bunch of authority and rulers, but the world violent. People are chaotic because we don't have a spiritual system. We are born in a barbarian world. You have a religion, and a religion is the lack of a spiritual system. What you have is blood sacrifice and a lack of accountability. You have an exemption system, a system that says, this person died for me and gonna pay the price for every mistake I make. How you gonna get better with that? If I tell a child right now, I can tell that child, hey son, it don't matter if you keep spilling shit on the floor. I'ma pay for it. I'ma just buy a new carpet. You think your son gonna stop spilling juice on the floor? If you tell your son, don't worry about it, I'ma just buy a new carpet every time. I'ma pay the price for it. He gonna just keep spilling shit. Daddy'll pay for it. If you tell your son, you spilt that juice, you put a stain on the carpet, you got to clean it up. I'm not gonna buy no new carpet. Now get down on your knees with this scrubber and you ain't leaving till that stain is 100% removed. I don't wanna see none of that stain when you done. I bet you your son won't spill shit else on the carpet. When your son know he got to correct his own wrong and that trouble is easy to get into, hard to correct after the fact, he gonna be very careful of getting into trouble and spilling on that carpet. It's simple logic, but yet we don't take it into religion. As a collective, we don't apply that knowledge to morality, which is a tragedy. Look at what's happening in the world because of it. Here's what the barbarians lived in. They was living in a wooden shacks. And again, they were outlaws. They were diseased. And the only thing they can do good was fight. This who we dealing with. This was barbarian life. You train, you fight, you get strong. You don't get smart. You're getting very smart in military techniques, fighting techniques. But spiritual, morality, technology, that was the stuff that the barbarian lacked. So when he showed up in our land, he was strong, he was a good fighter, but he didn't understand about sound, cymatics, the invisible realm, the intricacies that nerds get into, you know. He wasn't that advanced yet, but he was very strong and powerful in military knowledge because the barbarian didn't spend his time tinkering with technology and learning about universal laws. Like you see today, we got gyms all over the place. The barbarian will throw weights at you all day in his society. The barbarian saw what we built. Let me show you some here. Look at this. This is what they grew up in. This is all they know. Look at this environment. somebody get hurt, you got a cut on them. And, we had medical procedures that was better and all that. It was just horrible to live in this society. You had to be tough and strong as a barbarian. They lived in wooden, beat up little towns. And when they established themselves in America, they was building with wood for years, even in the wild, wild west. But while they was building with wood, guess what, y'all? We had stone monuments all around the world. The people that took over wasn't working with stone. You got to try to put yourself in the barbarian shoes at what that must have been like. These people probably thought they landed in another world. Imagine as a baby, all I know is this. We enter an age of exploration after the world had already civilized every land. They showed up acting new when everyone else was familiar with everything. This is the mystery of these people. Why I think that they were bred underground. They are humanoids, some about them, but they don't got a soul, which means they are some kind of artificial humanoid, because your humanity literally comes from the fact that you are a sentient being. So if you don't have a soul, technically you ain't even human. You're some kind of cyborg, robot, humanoid, drone. That's what you would be if you don't have free will. If you don't got free will, you are a robot, a hive mind, an NPC. You're a puppet on a string. You killing and stealing, but it ain't me doing it. Something that's controlling me. I'm a robot. So these people operate like transhumans, like non-human entities. And they have waged a war against humanity and free will, which makes me think that they're not like us. It's something about them. They're a different type of being than us. So when the barbarian saw these big stone cities, he was culturally shocked. The barbarian didn't know nothing but disease, warfare. And then he entered these classy Victorian cities. And the people there is looking at him like, wow, these people are new to the world. Because the world was the free will network that we have built around the earth. That's what we call the world. If you was not living in Tartaria or one of these civilized utopias, far as we concerned, you was living outside of the world, or you was secluded in some little isolated barbarian society. And that's what you had. You had these isolated pockets of societies that were just lawless, uncivilized. And these cultures was new to the world. Their age of exploration comes way after the world was already explored. When you're reading history and you're in the age of exploration, it's false. What they're called an age of exploration is when the barbarians started to explore and they started to assimilate in these advanced societies and learn from them and adopt their ways. We basically took these barbarians, put them in nice robes and suits, gave them a Bible, a spiritual system. We made them classy, made them bougie. The people in power, when we met them, they did not know luxury and class. They did not know Victoria. They didn't know why this statue is beautiful, because they didn't have art, like art and crafts and music. We valued stuff like that in Tartaria. We was into art, music, and sound. And these people was just into conquest, man. When they came in contact with us, we was literally giving them stuff they never heard of, like music, art, spirituality. And guess what? Our ancestors were so happy to tame them and teach them. We thought we was fixing these people and cleaning them up. And meanwhile, these people were saying, we gonna take over all this shit. We're literally telling ourselves, we're taming these barbarians. We weren't taming them folks. They was hiding their ways, acting like they one of us. And they was waiting for the right time to show their true colors and take over. When these folks showed up to our land, they realized something over time. You know what they wanted from us, y'all? our legacy. With everything else they took, they wanted our servitude, they wanted our free will, they want our souls. But guess what? They want your legacy. The reason that's important so you can tap into what was going on. When these filthy, stinking barbarians showed up to our land, we civilized them and we tried to tame them and clean them up, put them in nice clothes. We cleaned them up. We taught them music. We taught them science, math. We gave them God consciousness. We did that. But you know what happened? The barbarians sat back and they said to themselves, when time passed, we're going to go down in history as the filthy people that crawled up from out of wood shacks, and the gods had to help us out. The barbarians had to look in the mirror and say, we're going to be remembered in history forever as the people who didn't have a spiritual system, the people who didn't have a law, the people who didn't even know about music, science, and art. When the barbarians showed up to these advanced societies, they had a culture shock. It let them realize how de-evolved they were. The barbarian did not know how messed up he was until he saw these advanced people. Then he looked at himself differently. He said, damn, I'm a monster. See, the barbarian did not know he was a monster until he saw the gods, and he said, damn, look at them and look at me. And when we upgraded him, that wasn't enough, because he said, people still gonna remember me as that filthy ass barbarian who was stanky, diseased, didn't know nothing about music, didn't know nothing about art. Would you want that to be your legacy? No. That's why the barbarians stole our history and gave us his. Now, when people talk about our people, they say we were dumb, primitive folks who were fighting, we were barbaric, we were fighting each other, we were violent, we were doing blood sacrifices to evil pagan gods, we were stanky, smelly, we didn't know about music and art. And guess what, y'all? That ain't our history. That's their history. Guess what? They stole our legacy. One of the most tough things, bro, that they stole from us was our legacy. I really believe stealing our land and all that comes second. Stealing our legacy is the most crucial thing they stole, because when they stole that, now we don't know who we are. Our history was deleted so that they can have it. Everything they teach about themselves is true for us. And they say that they gave us morality, music, art. These folks, how the fuck the barbarian had time to master sound and to make minor notes and major notes when he on conquest? These people were the best fighters in the world. You got to give them that. But to say that they were the creators of music, spirituality, math, science, you giving them too much. Can't nobody master everything. Now, yes, they mastered military warfare, but we were the masters of science, music, morality. And if you look at these people, you know that they weren't the masters of that, because what are they good at today? Conquest. Look around you now. Have you ever seen a dude with a black top hat on paint a picture? These people ain't good at nothing but money, finance, banking, and capitalism. Conquest. They don't have no other talents. Tell me I'm lying. That's right. These folks want to convince the world they created everything. And because of that, where does that leave us? With nothing. If they created music, science, and everything, what was we doing? Let them tell it, scratching our ass, acting like monkeys. We didn't have music, science, spirituality, nothing until the white man enslaved us. You know what's crazy about that? Let's tell it in reverse so we can hear the truth. The white man didn't have music, science, or art, or morality until we befriended him. You see the difference? Everything is flipped backwards. They inverted history. Let me show you how it's inverted. They teach you that our people would not have music, art, science, morality. They teach you we wouldn't have none of that if we weren't enslaved by them. But the truth is that they wouldn't have none of that if we didn't befriend them in the first place. If they don't tell you that lie, then you would always try to revolt against them. The enemy got to give you a reason to justify your enslavement. And the enemy said, yeah, I took your shit. Yeah, I did that. I stole your shit. I killed your people, but your people was heathens anyway. Your people was evil anyway and killing each other anyway. So me killing your people, y'all was killing each other anyway. That's how the barbarian do you. They still do us like that. Tell me I'm lying. When the police shoot a black man, guess what all the racist white folks say? Y'all kill each other anyway. The barbarian feel like he can kill you because you kill you. I can take over your land because you evil. But bro, you taking over my land is evil. But that's the way of the barbarian. The barbarian is saying, I got to rule over you because you don't know how to behave yourself. But in order for you to rule over me, you got to not behave yourself. You got to kill niggas and burn niggas alive. It's hypocritical. The barbarian said you are naturally evil. You're inherently evil while conquering your land. Because the barbarian can't look in the mirror and say, I'm a piece of shit and I'm a thief. He got to say, I'm carrying out the will of God. These people need me to enslave them because if I don't make them a slave, they ain't gonna know how to dance, baby. Come on now. Hey, got to give these people some music and some art. Hey man, they need a Bible. Now let's go kill them. That's the only reason they was killing us, because they wanted to teach you. See how sick the barbarian is? If a person wanna go on world conquest, guess what? Do that. I'm not gonna agree with it. I'm a revolt against it. But bro, I'm gonna tell you what I can't stand. If a nigga do something and don't wanna take accountability, bro, quit telling me you did it for this reason or that reason. You did it cause you greedy and you evil, nigga. Let's keep the shit real. Well, we enslaved you because y'all didn't have no shoes on and we wanted to give you shoes. You could have gave me the shoes without hanging me on the fucking tree. We enslaved your people because they didn't have Jesus and we wanted to give them Jesus. So you wanted to give us the Prince of Peace by performing war. Let that sink in.